coming to you from, as you can see, Naraxon's Myometrics Ultimate Biomechanics Lab. Want to do a quick matrix before the weekend here. Single leg strengthening for all three planes. Great matrix for runners. Couple things. When you go to start out on one leg, the tendency is to just stand straight up. I want you to start by bending forward at the hip and just barely unlocking your knee. If you go any further, that's going to engage the quad muscles, which is what we don't want. We want all the muscles in the hip to be working for us, okay? Next thing is, if you could do this barefoot without shoes, you're going to get twice as much bang for the buck and get those proprioceptors and the muscles in the feet really working hard, telling the hip muscles to do the same, okay? So start by balancing on one leg, doesn't matter which one, we're going to do both, and we're going to start to just nice and slowly just kind of stretch out, and we're going to hit all three planes of motion. I'm going to do 5 of these guys. You can do however many you want, but this is just for right now. I'm using water because I don't have weights and I'm improvising. So I'd say about 3-pound weight is fine. Good. Now we're going to switch over to the left. You want to go slow because that's going to make the muscles work harder. You can tell I'm a little wobbly on my left side, not because it's happy hour, it is, but just because that's my weaker side. Okay? So we're starting out in the sagittal plane. Got about 5 of those guys. Next, what we're going to do, back on the right leg, and we're going to go in the frontal plane. Okay, so side to side. You're going to choose a nice basic overhead one to kind of help stretch out a little bit first. That's usually my choice, is to kind of loosen things up. What you want to be working on is, if you're feeling a ton of pressure in your foot, periodically try and engage the muscles in your hip. When you're doing these overhead reaches as well, don't just do where you're just barely bending. Reach as high as you can, because guess what's going to kick in is those abdominal muscles. Okay? So working on that. One more here. Good. Now we're going to go back to the right leg for rotation. You can start to reach around and you'll feel your end range. Here's one of the hardest things for most people, including runners, to do. Get to that end range and then get a full turn. Not turning your waist, but turning from the pelvis, okay? So get here, little tweak. Get to this point here, stretch, little tweak there. It's really, really hard to do. But it's an awesome, awesome strengthening piece that will help with speed for runners, okay? Here, you're directly working, forcing those hip rotators to do what they're supposed to do, which, while your abdominal muscles are holding everything into place, the hip rotators are actually rotating the hip instead of being overstretched. Okay? Just like that. It's a really, really tough exercise, and man, does that thing burn. Okay, next one here. You want to do that one slow, just like here. This is reaching here, and then just a little bit of motion. As you get stronger, you're going to be able to go a little bit further. Get your end range, turn there, get to this point, the body turns as a whole. It's kind of like you're turning, if you had, turning from your belly button, basically. So do this part first, then turn. Load the arm, then turn. Just a little tweak that I found to be way harder and really advantageous for runners. Okay? I lost count. Next round through, what I like to do, what I've been having people do, work on is, now we want to incorporate the abdominals a little bit more, go for some speed. With runners in the sagittal plane, we do a lot of this. Against the biceps, what happens then is the arms are working like crazy and they tend to come forward. Well, if the shoulder isn't extending backward, we miss out on that beautiful thoracic and shoulder extension, which loads up the abdominal muscles, which, as we know, we basically want to load to be able to explode to come forward. So what I want you to work on is, think of somebody, if somebody was back behind you bothering you, what would you do? You give them a little nudge, okay? So on this one, we're going to do a nudging motion. Just try it a couple times first to get used to it. But what I'm going to do is have you do it for speed, fast. Just counting up to 5 because it's too hard to count the motions. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Notice when my arms are going like crazy, this is stationary. That's one of the hardest things to do, but what makes it such a great exercise. Okay, so load yourself in place, get everything nice and tight, but you're not holding your breath. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Did you see how my body started to cheat? Wouldn't it be easier to complete the motion? No, hold it behind you. It's really hard to do. Good. All right, next we're going to do side to side. I chose one. You could start by just kind of doing a little tick-tock in the frontal plane. I want to work on speed. So counting again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You really have to focus into your abdominal muscles. Next one here. Keep everything nice and loose. Don't let your hips go all over the place. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can feel my legs start to creep up again. So start to pay attention when you notice your body's cheating. Last one here. I want just to open rotation, but fast. Hold everything in place. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ignore my grimacing. Left side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Thanks.